What's happening, everybody? Jay Shockblast here, and here we are. Mary Jane Watson being played by Zendaya. I don't even know who she is. Apparently, she's a big Disney star. Looks like a very beautiful woman. I just don't see Mary Jane Watson there. And, it's unfortunate that we have to keep doing this. I just don't understand why Hollywood can't stick to the script, like I get it. Actually, I'll tell you what, I don't even have a problem with Zendaya being, the playing the role of a character that is the love interest of Peter Parker. Completely okay with Peter Parker being in an interracial relationship. I just don't understand why she has to be Mary Jane. It doesn't really make sense to me because I think Mary Jane Watson is a very distinct character in the Marvel Universe. She is very much. I think that fiery red hair and that redhead personality is very much a part of who she is as a character. And taking that and trying to have somebody that looks different portray that doesn't seem fair to either the character or the actress. Now, there's been a lot of controversy over the last few days, and I was traveling, and this is what they had to expect this, but they have their canned response for every time they do this. It's you're just being racist, just typical white men being racist. Angry white men. That's always the answer. It's always the angry white men who happen to be the core of people who buy comic books. I mean, like, I don't know what the percentage is, and I don't really care. I want diversity in comics. Like, part of the reason why I've recorded this video like 10 times at this point. At least 2 of them have gone over 20 minutes. I have not been really happy or thrilled with the tone or how this all comes out, because I don't want... It frustrates me because I feel like the second I start as a white male, I feel like the second I start talking about changing races or sexes of a character, anyone that's not is angrily clicking on their keyboard already. They're clenching their fists. They're like, this white guy, oh my god, what a racist. And it's not like that at all. As a matter of fact, I'm as far from that as it could possibly be. I just believe that characters are who they are. And I'm tired of seeing the pandering Marvel Comics pat themselves on the back for being all diverse when all they're doing is lining their pockets. All they're doing is patting themselves on the back for being so great while they're getting good publicity from places that they would not otherwise get it. That's why Jane Foster becomes Thor. Because if they take a character like Angela or a character like Lady Sif, 2 existing, just badass Asgardian female characters, and elevate them to the level of Thor, and make them, focuses, of the comics, nobody buys it. And not only that, they're not on The View. But if you take Jane Foster and call her Thor, The View calls and says, hey, we want that. When you take a black 15-year-old girl and named Riri Williams and say she's going to be taking over as Iron Man for Tony Stark, that gets you in Time magazine. But on the same day, you announce that Doctor Doom is going to also take over as Iron Man. That gets you nothing. Like, that was barely even a thought. It was glossed over completely, when in reality, that's probably a bigger deal in the comic world than Riri Williams is going to be. I think the problem that I have, and what I don't understand why people of other ethnicities aren't more upset about, is I'm tired of the hand-me-down characters. And if I was receiving like I understand everybody wants to see these characters and see themselves in them. I get that. Like that's completely acceptable and understandable human nature, you know? You want to feel a part of it, and you should, and I want you to be a part of it. But they're hand-me-downs. Like, that's all you're good enough for? Is that what they're saying? Like, you can't get a new original character that stands out on their own? That's what I want. I'm advocating new characters, not hand-me-down characters. There's no need to alienate everybody. And you know, people like me that have supported Thor for years, that I named my dog Thor, you know? Like, you don't need to alienate people like me who are already spending the money on your product to try to get new money spent on your product. You know, they've dragged this Jane Foster crap out, and you know eventually Thor's going to get his hammer back just in time for Infinity Wars. You know it's going to happen. We know Tony Stark is eventually going to be back as Iron Man. We know that Riri Williams is going to last. How is that acceptable, you know? So now you're going to change Zendaya into Mary Jane Watson, and you're already putting her in a bad place. And I've seen a lot of people questioning her acting ability, as well as, you know, being upset that she's not Mary Jane. Like, it doesn't make sense. You know, you're putting her in a bad position, and I don't think it's fair to her. And I don't think it's fair to, you know, getting more black characters into the comics to have, you know, somebody that's just going to be the character in a movie. They're not going to make Mary Jane black in the comics. Like, they're just not going to do it. It doesn't make sense. I think that would cause a bigger uproar than any of the other casting changes or character changes that they've made. So I don't understand how that's not insulting. You know, like that they're making these decisions, and I don't really feel like they're genuine. They claim that they're sincere and that they're organic, and I just don't feel like they are at all. You know, I really don't. And you know what's organic and what, or not organic, but you know what's real? It's, you know, me being on vacation last week. I went to Baltimore, Maryland. The Boston Red Sox were playing the Baltimore Orioles. So my girlfriend and I drove down, and you know, I tried looking around to see if the Washington Nationals were playing, or if the New York Mets were playing, or if the Philadelphia Phillies were playing either Monday or Thursday. And it happens that the Phillies were. And I drove out of my way to go to a place called Amalgam Comics and Coffee House in Philadelphia. It is the first comic book shop in America owned by a black woman. I don't want to say African American because to me everybody's American. Like, unless you were born in Africa, you know, to me you're an American, and that's the way I choose to look at it. So the first black woman in America to own a comic book shop, maybe the world, I don't know, but I know it's definitely in America, and that's awesome. And I want to see more of that. I wanted to support that. So we literally drove out of our way. We stayed in Chester, Pennsylvania, which was like 15 miles to the west or south of Philadelphia. We went just way out of our way to make sure we went to this comic shop. And I didn't just want to go there. I wanted to spend money there, because putting money into her store helps her keep going, and that's what I want to see. I want to see more people of all ethnicities, of all walks of life, being involved in what I love. And that's the type of thing that, you know, you do to make sure that that happens. You know, and that's what's so frustrating about making these videos is, you know, all people think and hear is typical angry white boy that can't handle his favorite characters or no longer look like him. You know, and it's not like that at all. I say this about everything. If they decided to make Luke Cage a white guy, I would be rip shit. Because it doesn't make sense. And I want to take a step back and talk about James Gunn for a second, director of Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, he's had some just awful comments the last couple days, totally predictable. You know, basically saying, he said something like, if you're complaining about Mary Jane, your life is too good. I mean, please, dude. You're about to make Ego the Living Planet the father of Peter Quill. I don't want to hear anything from you. You know, am I racist for thinking a planet can't be Peter Quill's father? I mean, is that what people are going to say when I make that video? Because I'm going to complain about that too when it officially happens. I'm going to complain about that in the review. Like, am I going to be racist then? You know? Like, am I against planets having children? Come on. I like Mary Jane isn't even really anything to me, but she is an iconic character, you know, just iconic, and I would like to see the characters stay who they are, and if you're going to change them, just don't do it because you want to announce it in Time Magazine or on The View or on CNN or whatever. Like, I get it, your job to get publicity, I totally get that, but you can't sit here and just keep checking boxes off the diversity checklist and pat yourself off on the back and then claim it's organic, because it's not. Like, these things are being done specifically to drive interest in the books, and sure, that's what any business is supposed to do, but like, what is going to get, they didn't get any press when they bought Angela from Image. You know, that wasn't on The View, was it? And I'm sure that, you know, the total badass feminists on The View would have loved Angela when they looked at her, because she wears like next to nothing, and I just, and that book's flopped. Like, she hasn't really done very well on her own, has she? I mean, she's had like 2 books, and she's been with the Guardians, and I don't think she's doing well. She was an Avenger, and nothing. You know, I'll at least say that, you know, like, Sam Wilson is the one that I've had the least problem with, because it made sense. It makes sense for him to be the next Captain America. You know, it just want it to make sense, and this one doesn't. Like, it doesn't, because for me, I would have so much rather them made her a new character. It's a great opportunity that they're missing to just have her be a different character, and maybe she turns into something more in the comics, you know? Maybe she ends up having a bad relationship with Peter, and she becomes a bad guy, you know? Like, there you go. You've got a new nemesis for Spider-Man, you know? Like, there's so many things they could have done, but they didn't. And it's just a lost opportunity. Again, no problem whatsoever with Peter Parker being in an interracial relationship. I think that's great, you know? I think that's a great opportunity. I don't, for everybody that says, why can't she be Mary Jane Watson, I say, why does she have to be? You know, why does she have to be? Because I just don't think it makes sense. And it's not because I'm entitled. It's not because I'm a spoiled white boy. Like, honestly, lately I feel like I'm not allowed to have an opinion on anything like this, because, God forbid, a white guy say anything, you know? It's stupid. It's really stupid. I just want real, organic, new characters. Like, they can add to their roster. You know? Like, that's what I want. And I don't feel like that's unreasonable. So, this doesn't make sense to me at all. And I'm tired of having the racial conversations, especially, it's a tough time in America right now, you know? There's so many people are just at each other, and I don't like it. I don't want it to be this way. I want everybody to be treated equally. I want everybody to get along. I want everybody... That's why I live my life the way that I do. I treat everybody the way I want to be treated. You know? I don't look at people like anything other than another human being. That's if everybody just did that, then we wouldn't be having, you know, these conversations. It would be okay to do this, but, you know, I'm gonna complain just as much when Matt Damon is cast in a movie about the Great Wall of China. Like, he's the lead in that movie, and it does not make a shred of sense to me, you know? So I would complain just as much about that if it was in my wheelhouse of comics. I don't usually talk about movies like that, you know? But, like, that's a stupid thing too. So, I digress. I think this is the keeper video, so you're probably going to watch this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please, let's have civil discourse. I'd love to know what you guys think. So let me know. We'll see ya.